This video contains world history, major historical events, and historical facts. Please subscribe for more videos on general knowledge. Prepare for all competitive exams. Question number 1. What was the significance of the Roman Empire? The Romans controlled much of Europe, Middle East, Africa. Legal, political, and architectural systems had a lasting impact on the world. Who was Genghis Khan? Founder and first great Khan of the Mongol Empire, became the largest contiguous empire in history after his death. What was the Black Death? Devastating pandemic of the bubonic plague that killed millions in Europe during the 14th century. What was the Renaissance? Cultural and intellectual movement in Italy in the 14th century marked the transition from the Middle Ages to the modern era. Who were the Aztecs? Indigenous civilization that dominated ancient Mexico before the Spanish arrival in 16th century. What was the American Revolution? 18th century political upheaval in which 13 colonies broke free from British rule and formed the United States of America. Who was Napoleon Bonaparte? French military leader and emperor who rose to power during the French Revolution and expanded the French Empire. What was World War I? Global War 1914 to 1918, primarily in Europe, characterized by trench warfare, tanks, and chemical weapons. What was the Cold War? State of political and military tensions between the Western powers and the Eastern powers after World War II. What was the Industrial Revolution? A period of rapid industrialization in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, marked by technological advancements and increased economic productivity. What was the French Revolution? Political upheaval in France in the late 18th century, marked by the collapse of the monarchy and the rise of the democracy and nationalism sentiments. What was the Holocaust? The systematic persecution and genocide of Jews and other minority groups by the Nazis during the World War II. Who was Alexander the Great? King of Macedon, who conquered much of the known world. What was the Scientific Revolution? A period of great scientific discoveries and advancements in the 16th and 17th centuries, marked by the works of scientists such as Galileo and Newton. What was the Korean War? A war fought between North and South Korea in the early 1950s, with involvement from the nations including the United States and China. What was the Cuban Missile Crisis? A political and military standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union in 1962 over the presence of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. What was the Reformation? A 16th century religious and political movement that resulted in the formation of Protestantism. What was the Age of Exploration? A period from the 15th to 17th century when European explorers charted much of the world. Who was Charles Darwin? English naturalist and biologist known for his contributions to the science of evolution. What was the American Civil War? A war fought from 1861 to 1865 between the northern and the southern United States over slavery and states' rights. Who was Julius Caesar? Roman general and statesman who played a critical role in the events that led to the demise of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. What was the American Revolution? A war fought between Great Britain and 13 of its own American colonies, which won the independence as the United States of America in 1783. Who was Abraham Lincoln? 16th President of the United States, who successfully navigated the country through the Civil War, its bloodiest war and perhaps its greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis. What was the World War II? A global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945, involving the majority of the world's nations, including all the great powers, organized into two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. Who was Florence Nightingale? A British nurse who came to prominence for her pioneering work in nursing during the Crimean War. Who was Mahatma Gandhi? Indian independence activist who was the leader of the Indian National Congress and is considered the father of the nation of India. What was the Vietnam War? A Cold War era proxy war that occurred in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from 1st November 1955 to the fall of Saigon on 30th April 1975. Who was the first emperor of Rome? Julius Caesar. What was the cause of World War I? The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. Who was the leader of Soviet Union during World War II? Joseph Stalin. What was the outcome of the Battle of Waterloo? Napoleon Bonaparte's defeat and exile to Saint Helena. Who discovered America? Christopher Columbus. What was the main cause of the French Revolution? Economic and social inequality. Who was the leader of the Nazi Germany during the World War II? Adolf Hitler. What was the outcome of the Hundred Years' War? The French were able to drive back the English and maintain control over their territories. Who was the first president of the United States? George Washington. Who was the leader of the Ottoman Empire during the World War I? Mehmed V. What was the outcome of the Punic Wars? Rome emerged victorious and Carthage was destroyed. What was the outcome of the Russo-Japanese War? Japan emerged victorious, solidifying its position as a major world power. Who was the leader of the Byzantine Empire? Justinian I. What was the outcome of the Spanish-American War? Spain lost control of its remaining colonies in Americas, including Cuba and Puerto Rico. Who was the leader of the Aztec Empire? Moctezuma II. Who was the leader of the Inca Empire? Pachacuti. What was the outcome of the Gulf War? Coalition forces, led by the United States, successfully expelled Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Who was the leader of the Persian Empire? Darius the Great. What was the outcome of the Russian Revolution? The Tsar was overthrown and the Communist Soviet Union was established. What was the outcome of the American Civil War? The Union emerged victorious and slavery was abolished. Who was the leader of the British Empire during World War II? Winston Churchill. Who was the leader of the Ottoman Empire during World War I? Mehmed V. Who was the leader of the Byzantine Empire during the Fourth Crusade? Alexius Angelus. In this channel, you will find many other videos on general knowledge. Please watch those for preparation of competitive exams. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share.